For years, I paid my parents' bills and sent them money every month. Then I found out they planned to leave me out of their will, so I canceled every payment and let them handle the mortgage. I'm 32, and I built my contracting business from nothing but long hours and stubborn determination, something I learned early because growing up in suburban Boston meant living in a family where responsibility was expected from me but rarely rewarded. My younger brother Derek had always been the favorite, the charming one my parents fussed over while I quietly worked for everything I achieved. When I graduated high school as valedictorian with a scholarship to Boston University, my celebration was a quick dinner and a $50 card. Yet 2 weeks later, my parents threw Derek a huge backyard party when his baseball team won a regional tournament. That pattern never changed. In college, I juggled 3 jobs to cover tuition, while Derek attended an expensive private school fully funded by our parents. Whenever I questioned the difference, my father would shrug and say Derek needed more support. After graduation, I discovered a talent for construction management, saved relentlessly, and eventually launched my own contracting company at 26, while Derek drifted between jobs and failed ventures. When he decided to open a sports memorabilia store, my parents remortgaged their house to give him $75,000, and when the business collapsed 8 months later, they barely criticized him. Around that same time, my father had a heart attack, leaving medical bills insurance didn't cover, and I paid over $30,000 without hesitation because they were my parents, and I believed helping family was simply what you did. Over the years, that help grew into a pattern. Roof repairs, car emergencies, tuition help for Derek, and eventually monthly bank transfers when my parents complained about mortgage struggles. By last year, I was sending them $2,800 every month, believing I was helping them stay financially stable. So when their lawyer called inviting me to an estate planning meeting, I assumed it would be routine, maybe a fair split between Derek and me after all the support I'd given them. Instead, I walked into a polished conference room and heard the attorney calmly explain that every asset house, investments, insurance would go entirely to Derek, while my inheritance consisted of my father's baseball card collection and my grandmother's recipe book. I stared at them in disbelief and said, "You're serious?" My father avoided my eyes before replying, "You're successful, Alice. Derek needs security more than you." The lawyer then dropped another bombshell. My parents had taken out a brand new mortgage on their paid-off house, $275,000 to fund Derek's latest dream of opening a sports bar, and the monthly payment was exactly the amount I'd been transferring. My mind raced as the realization hit me. "So you expect me to keep paying a mortgage for a house that will belong entirely to Derek?" I asked. Derek rolled his eyes and muttered, "It's not like you need the money." That moment snapped something inside me. I stood up, thanked the lawyer for his honesty, and walked out, telling my parents I had my own financial planning to do. That night, I combed through years of bank records and discovered I had contributed over $175,000 in 5 years alone, and worse, many of those deposits had been quietly redirected into Derek's account. I had essentially been funding his lifestyle without knowing it. The next morning, I canceled the automatic transfers. Within days, my phone exploded with frantic messages. "There must be a banking error," my mother texted. When I finally answered, I said calmly, "It's not an error." I stopped the payments. My father shouted that I was abandoning them and reminded me of my responsibilities. I replied, "I've already paid more than my share." The confrontation escalated, with them accusing me of cruelty and even contacting colleagues claiming they were worried about my mental health, but I refused to restart the payments. Months passed and reality caught up with them. The mortgage fell behind, Derek's bar struggled, and the financial safety net they'd relied on vanished. Gradually, the truth spread through the extended family, and many relatives who initially believed my parents' version learned how much I had actually done for them. Eventually, my father sent me a handwritten letter admitting they had treated me unfairly and taken my support for granted. They sold their house, downsized, and began living within their own means. Slowly, we rebuilt contact carefully, with boundaries. Today, our relationships aren't perfect, but they are honest. I learned something painful yet liberating from the whole ordeal. Sometimes loving your family means refusing to keep funding their dysfunction, and the moment you stop being treated like an endless ATM is the moment you finally reclaim your own life.